everyone, welcome to this edition of Weekly Roundup, and in this session we will be covering the important news development of the past week. My name is Anuj and I will be taking this session. So let's move to the discussion. In today's discussion we will be covering 5 main news, 7 quick updates and 1 personality in news. In main news we will be covering about the proposed amendment to the IT rules 2021 by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. In second news, we will be covering about the cloud seeding experiment which is going on in Delhi. In third main news, we will be talking about the transforming of small businesses for which an AI playbook has been released. In fourth main news, we will be covering about global MPI of 2025 report which has been released. In fifth main news, we will be covering about the first ever observation of effect of sun's coronal mass ejection on moon. So it is an important development when we talk about the science and technology. In quick updates, we will be talking about edible oil, methane emission, quantum echoes algorithm, real effective exchange rate, Kurunji flowers, Saranda forest, liberalized remittance scheme. Okay, and in personality news, we will be covering Shree Narayan Guru. Okay, so this was a brief about today's session. Now we will start with the first news. So let us see what is the first news. Today's first news is that MeitY has proposed amendment to the IT rules 2021 to regulate AI generated content. So in this news, we will be covering about the proposed amendments and why these amendments are needed. Okay, we will look into the both aspects. And this is related to GS paper 2 which talks about important aspects of governance, transparency and accountability. Okay, so moving to the news, let us first understand what are those rules for which amendment has been proposed. Okay, so the amendment has been proposed to the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code of 2021. And from where this MeitY has gained power to propose amendment in these rules? It has gained power from Information Technology Act of 2002. So this is the basic context of this news. Now we will move to the proposed amendments. Okay. So these are the key amendment which has been proposed by the MeitY. Okay. First of all, let us understand for what these amendment will be applicable. These will be applicable for social media, which include Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and other social media platforms. Okay, so if you are writing your notes using AI, so these rules and these amendments won't be applicable to your notes. So first of all, let us understand the first proposed amendment. It is that it has defined synthetically generated information. Okay, so here let us first understand what is synthetically generated information. Okay, it is basically deepfakes and AI generated content. Okay, so they have defined this, and how they have defined it? They have defined that a information that is artificially or algorithmically created, generated, modified or altered using a computer resource in a manner that appears reasonably authentic or true. So they have defined it, AI generated content, and it will be applicable for text, pictures and videos. Okay, so it will be applicable on the pictures as well, text as well as the videos. So what is the second key amendment proposed? It is about mandatory declaration. Suppose I am a content creator and I am making some video or I am posting some photos. So I have to declare that this video or this photo has been made by using AI. You might have seen various trends on Instagram where they are making photos by using AI to beautify some pictures. Okay. So second key amendment is this. And what is the third amendment which is proposed? It has enhanced obligation for social media intermediaries. Okay. So when we are reading this amendment, we also have to understand about the safe harbor. Safe harbor clause. Okay. It is there in news due to Sahyog portal. Okay. So please read about Sahyog portal and write in the comment section what is Sahyog portal is there for. Okay. So let us understand what does safe harbor mean. Suppose I am writing something on Twitter. Okay. So suppose that information is defamatory or not correct. In that case, on the first instant, Twitter won't be liable for the information which I have provided on its platform. Okay. But then government has seen that content and said that this is defamatory or it is against the interest of the country. Then they will notify that social media intermediary. In its case, it is Twitter. So they have to remove that content. So that safe harbor here means that on the first instant, intermediaries won't be liable for the publication or the content on their media platform. But when government notified to them, they have to remove that content. Okay. So this is the meaning of this. And Sahyog portal is also in news due to this. Okay. So please write about the Sahyog portal and for what it is used in the comment section. Now we will move to the requirement why these amendment was required. Okay. First of all, it is required for national security. Okay. When Operation Sindoor was going on, Pakistan media was using some games videos to show that they have drowned our jets or they are attacking. So such type of information was spread by them. To stop such type of information, these amendments are proposed. And it also will lead to stoppage of terrorist recruitment which is used by propaganda's videos. Okay. That is the first usage. Second, it will stop spreading of misinformation. Okay. It will stop the false narrative which are created, especially at the time of election. Okay. Sometimes elections are manipulated by using AI videos and AI text as well as AI speech. Okay. It will also stop the gender-based harm. Okay. You might have seen or you might have heard about the Rashmika Mandana's video that was circulated by using deepfakes. Even our honorable Prime Minister at that time has said that deepfake is a nuance to the society and it should be checked. Okay. In Man Ki Baat, our honorable Prime Minister mentioned about that instance. Okay. And it can also lead to defamation. Okay. That reputation of an individual or group of individual can be harmed by using such videos. So it will also check frauds. And how it will check frauds? By enabling identify theft, by checking financial scam and stopping social engineering attack. You might have seen or heard about the digital arrest which are happening at a fast pace, and even the largest digital arrest has taken place in Delhi recently. Okay, so such types of example can be written in your answer. Now we will look into the PYQs which are related to this news. Okay, first we will look into the prelims PYQ of 2020. Okay, read it very carefully. First, with the present state of development, artificial intelligence can effectively do which of the following? Okay, so here present state of development means 2020, not today. Not today, okay. So first statement is bring down electricity consumption in industrial unit. Second statement, create meaningful short stories and songs. Third, disease diagnosis, fourth, text to speech conversion, fourth, wireless transmission of electrical energy. So even today, AI cannot transfer wireless transmission of electric energy. Okay. But at that time, when this question was asked, AI was not able to create meaningful short stories and songs. But presently, obviously it can create today, as nature of technology is changing. So at that time, the answer was 1, 3 and 4. I think this is visible. Okay, so answer was at that time was 1, 3 and 4. But suppose this question is asked today, then the answer will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this was about the prelims PYQ of 2020. Now let us see into the 2025 GS paper 4 question. Okay, so question is, in the present digital age, social media has revolutionized our ways of communication and interaction. However, it has raised ethical issues and challenges. Describe the key ethical dilemmas in this regard. Okay, so here you have to write about ethical dilemmas of using social medias. So when we were talking about need of these amendments, such types of dilemmas can be written in this answer. Okay, so these were the PYQ related to this news. Now we will move to the next news. Now let us discuss the second main news for today. Second main news of today is about successful trial test on cloud seeding in Delhi. Okay, in this news we will be understanding about cloud seeding and what are the challenges associated with cloud seeding and what are their benefits. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 3, where syllabus talks about science and technology developments and their application and effect in everyday life. Okay, so this is the second news. Now let us discuss the context of this news. So this trial has been conducted by IIT Kanpur. Okay, and it will lead to the city's first artificial rain. Okay, so there are two types of rain. One is natural, another one is artificial. We will discuss about both of them in the next slide. Let us first understand about what is artificial rain. So artificial rain is a weather modification technique, okay, that improves a cloud's ability to provide rain or snow by introducing tiny ice nuclei into certain type of cloud. Okay, and the seeding agents which are used are silver iodide, potassium iodide, sulfur dioxide, frozen carbon dioxide, which is also known as dry ice, and even a common salt can be used. Okay, now we will look into the working of cloud seeding. Okay, how does rain occurs? Okay, let us first understand the mechanism of rain. Suppose this is sea or any water body. Water will evaporate from here. Okay, and it will lead to the formation of cloud by condensation. So first evaporation will take place, then condensation, and it will lead to formation of clouds. Clouds consist of water particles, tiny ice particles, dust particle, as well as water vapors. And when these tiny water particles combines together, they lead to precipitation. Okay, so this is the mechanism of rain, but here we have to understand one thing, that every cloud does not lead to rains. Okay, it is like someday you are seeing clouds, there are a lot of clouds, but there is no rain on that day. Okay, so that means every cloud does not lead to rain. It can be understood by an analogy. Okay, suppose you have acquired lot of knowledge, but it is not necessary that you will replicate that knowledge in your exam. So there is requirement of something, that is practice test, revision, and effective utilization of time. So here also we can understand that in clouds, we need nuclei on which water can be absorbed, and if large part of molecule can be created so that precipitation occurs. So this is basic about water mechanism or the rainfall mechanism. Now we will understand about the mechanism of artificial rain. So basically, in artificial rains, we shoot silver iodide. We can shoot from the ground or we can drop from the aeroplanes. And these silver iodides will act as nuclei. They will attract these small water particles, and that will lead to rain. Okay, so this is the mechanism of the artificial rain. Okay, so basic necessity is that cloud should be there and it should have sufficient amount of water in it. That means that this mechanism of cloud seeding cannot create clouds. It can only enhance the mechanism of rain. So requirement of cloud is there. Now we will understand about its benefit and challenges. First of all, why Delhi is using it? It is using it for combating pollution. Okay, you might have observed that whenever there is rain, the purity in the air increases as the dust particle and PM 2.0 and PM 10 settle down. Okay. Second, it will enhance winter snowfall and mountain snowpacks that will lead to rejuvenation of rivers. Okay. These are some advantages. Even it can used for tackling droughts. Okay. These are its benefits. Now we will talk about the concerns associated with it. First of all, it is not a reliable solution and its effectiveness is not measured. Why it is not reliable? Because it provides short-term solution, not the long-term solution. Suppose we are tackling pollution through this. It will be a short-term solution only. We have to work along with it to finding long-term solution. Okay. Second, there are issues with the seeding material as well. Suppose we are sending silver iodide. So it will come back to the environment or the earth and it will harm the ecosystem. Okay. Third is environmental risk. That means it will change the weather pattern of the globe. Okay. So these are some concerns associated with artificial rain and cloud seeding. Okay. So this was about artificial rain, and now we will look into the PYQ. This was the PYQ of 2025. Okay. Read it, it is very easy. We have discussed. Question is, artificial way of causing rainfall to reduce air pollution make use of. Okay. First option is silver iodide and potassium iodide. Second option, silver nitride and potassium iodide. Third, silver iodide and potassium nitrate. Fourth option is silver nitrate and potassium chloride. Okay. So we have discussed this in this discussion. So please write down the answer in the comment section. It is an easy question which was there in 2025 prelims examination. Now we will discuss the third main news. The third main news is about transforming small businesses, for which an AI playbook for India's SMEs has been released. Okay. In this news, we will be discussing about the SMEs and what are the challenges they face and how AI can provide solution to those challenges. Okay. And it is related to GS paper 3, where it talk about awareness in the field of IT, space and computer. Okay. So now we will discuss the context of this news. Okay. So this has been launched under the guidance of Office of Principal Scientific Advisor and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay. This is an important fact, and it provide a strategic roadmap to India's small and medium enterprises. Okay, so before moving further, we will understand about the MSMEs. Okay, it is an important topic for GS paper 3. So in the recent budget, the definition of MSMEs has been changed. So suppose this is micro, this is small, this is medium. Okay, so in this recent budget, the definition has been changed and it is based on two aspects. One is investment, another is turnover. Okay, so for micro, it is from 2.5 crores to 10 crores. For small, it is from 25 crores to 100 crores. And for medium, it is from 125 crores to 500 crores. Okay. So investment for micro, small and medium limit is 2.5 crores, 25 crores and 125 crores. And the limit for turnover is 100 crores, 10 crores, 100 crores and 500 crores. Okay, this is the new definition which has been recently changed. Okay, so such type of fact is important for prelims as well as for mains. Whenever you are writing, you will be writing about MSMEs. Why we are reading or why there is an AI roadmap for MSMEs, specifically SMEs. So we will discuss about the significance of MSMEs here. Okay, so they contribute about 30% of Indian GDP. First significance. Second, they contribute about 45% to Indian export. Okay, they are labor intensive and employ around 11 crore people. Okay, so these are the major significance of MSMEs. Whenever you are writing an answer for your mains, such types of data will make your answer very specific and different from others. Okay, so 30% to GDP, 45% to export, 11 crore people as employed in this section. This is the definition. Okay, so such types of fact and data should be remembered and also should be made into your notes. Okay, so now we will discuss about the challenges and how AI will provide solution to them. Okay, coming to the challenges, first major challenge faced by SMEs are operational and supply chain efficiency. Okay, when we talk about this, it is that small manufacturer incur about 15 to 20% higher raw material cost and 20% greater logistical cost compared to large enterprises. Okay, and how AI will provide solution to them? It will integrate procurement and supply monitoring and optimize the inventory. Also, it will optimize the logistic cost. Okay, so it will increase the overall efficiency of operational and supply chain. Okay, second major issue with SMEs are quality. How? They have high defect rate which increase their operational as well as compliance cost. Okay, so AI will unified maintenance and quality control and also monitor the parameter so that there are low chances of defect. Okay, that is the second issue. Third issue is of sustainability. Okay, SMEs consume large energy and they have inefficient waste management along with overuse of water drive. So this is not only harmful for them, it is also harmful for the ecosystem. And how AI will used here? It will optimize the energy and also predict into the waste and resource management. Okay. The fourth issue is of financial efficiency. So cost for capital for SMEs is at 12 to 14%, which is higher to the Indian large corporations. That is around 8 to 10%. Okay, so there is a difference of about 4%. So what AI will do? AI will assess the credit risk assessment as well as integrate the financial forecasting. That means that from which bank you can take or from which inventory or financial mechanism you can use so that you will get the credit at a better ratio. Fifth, it will also help in virtual prototyping. Okay, the cost for virtual prototyping for SMEs is very high. What AI will do? AI will enable the real-time design simulation so that the cost of virtual prototyping will come low. Lastly, it will also manage the workforce and the talent. Presently, there is shortage of skilled labor in SMEs. So AI will help in role skill mapping and also cross application adaptive learning. So these are the some challenges faced by SMEs, and these are the challenges, these are the solution provided by AI. Okay. Even if you are writing about challenges of SMEs, you can write them whenever there is a question about the challenges of SMEs. Okay. So there are some government scheme for MSMEs as well, such as Samadhan, okay, credit guarantee scheme, Mudra scheme. So such schemes are there for MSMEs. Now we will look into the PYQ for this news. So there are two PYQs, one is for prelims and another is one from mains. In 2023, there was a question in prelims. Consider the following statement with reference to India. First statement, according to the Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development Act of 2006, the medium enterprises are those with investment in plant and machinery between 15 crores and 25 crores. Second, all bank loans to micro, small and medium enterprises qualify under the priority sector. Okay. This we have not discussed, but this statement is correct. Okay. But the first statement is not correct. Okay. Even at that time the definition was not this, but after change of the definition, it is from 125 crores to 500 crores. Okay. So the answer will become 2 only. Okay. In 2023 only there was a question in mains as well. The question is, faster economic growth require increased share of the manufacturing sector in GDP, particularly of MSMEs. Comment on the present policies of the government in this regard. So here you have to talk about the contribution of MSMEs in GDP and specifically in manufacturing sector. And then you have to write about the policies of government in this regard. Okay. So this was the mains question in 2023. So let us discuss the fourth main news. The fourth main news is that the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index of 2025 has been released. In this news, we will be discussing about Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, what are its key findings, and how you can use them in your exam. Okay. And it is related to GS paper 2, which talks about issues relating to poverty and hunger. So now we will discuss the context of this news. Okay. So this report has been released by United Nations Development Program, okay, UNDP, and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, which is a research center in Oxford University. It is a research center in Oxford University. Okay. And we will discuss its methodology. The index is based on 3 dimensions with 10 indicators. Okay. We will discuss that in the next slide. So what are those 3 dimensions? Those are health, education and living standards. Okay. Even NITI Aayog published a report which is known as National Multidimensional Index. Okay. That also use same dimensions, health, education as living standard. Okay. But it use different indicators, okay, or more indicators than the 10 indicators which are provided here. Okay. We will also discuss about those 2 indicators, but let us first understand about the indicators which are used in multidimensional poverty index. Okay. So these indicators are nutrition, child mortality, years of schooling, school attendance, cooking fuel, sanitation, drinking water, electricity, housing and asset. Okay. So these are the 10 dimensions which are used by multidimensional poverty index. And if someone is poor in 3 dimensions, that means 33% dimensions, that is known as multidimensional poor. Okay. Multidimensional poor. NITI Aayog used the same dimensions, but the indicators used are different, as we already talked. So both two different indicators are in health. They also use a third indicator, which is maternal health. Okay. And in living standards, another indicators is used, that is bank account. And it is NITI Aayog published it from 2021, whereas MPI, Multidimensional Poverty Index of Globe, is released from 2010. Okay. So this is for counting multidimensional poor. Now we will understand how multidimensional poverty index is calculated. It is calculated by multiplying number of poor into the intensity of poor. So number of poor people can be counted from here, that is head count ratio. Okay, that how many people are poor. What does it mean, or what intensity of poor mean? Okay, suppose this is below poverty line. Okay, and there are 100 people which are below poverty line. So they will have some average, right, of them as well. So the difference between below poverty line and the average of poor is known as intensity of poverty. Okay, when we multiplied it to total number of poor people, we get multidimensional poverty index. Okay, so such type of definition and the poverty is important. Calculation of poverty is important. You should also read about the relative poverty, absolute poverty. Such type of definition should be remembered for your examination. Okay. Now let us look into the key highlights of the report. Okay. So first key highlight is that globally 1.1 billion people out of 6.3 billion people are in acute multidimensional poverty. Okay, that's the first major finding. In that, 43% face severe poverty with deprivation in half or more MPI indicators. We have discussed about indicators in the last slide. Okay, and it has given a dimension about the multi-poverty index in India as well. Okay, it has said that MDI in India has fallen to 16.4% in 2019 to 2021 from 55% in 2005 to 2006. It's a major achievement. Whenever you are writing about poverty in India, you can quote this fact, which is that India has approximately lifted 414 million people out of poverty. So if you see the mains paper, there are many questions related to poverty, such as in the last mains in 2025, there was a question about urban poverty. In 2016, there was a question about how urban poverty and rural poverty differ. I think in 2019 or 20 also there was a question about methodologies of calculating poverty. Okay. So whenever you are writing an answer about poverty in India, such fact can be written. Okay, why I am emphasizing so much on these facts? Because specifically in GS paper 3, students face a lot of problem in making their answer specific, because you have to write about datas, example to substantiate your answer in GS paper 3. And GS paper 3 is very dynamic as well. Okay. The other major finding is that it has found out that the climate and poverty are interlinked. Okay, so over 80% lives in a climate hazard prone region. That means 80% of poor people live in climate hazard prone region. Okay, and in that also, in South Asia, people with double burdens are maximum. That is climate hazard as well poverty. Okay. The last major finding is related to small island developing state. These are small islands which were officially recognized in 1992 in Earth Summit. Okay. So these are small island developing state, and what is the major finding regarding to them? It has said that in these islands, the collective poverty rate is higher than the developing world average, which is at 23% when compared to the developing world average, that is at 18%. Okay, so these are the major findings of the report. Whenever you are writing an answer related to poverty, you can directly quote data from this report. Whenever you are writing data or answer about poverty in India, you can write about the data given in this report. And it's a major data that 414 million people has came out from the poverty. Now we will discuss PYQ related to this. So this is the question from 2012 prelims. Okay, so the question is the multi-dimensional. Please read the question carefully because you have to answer this because it has directly come or it is directly from our discussion. The multi-dimensional poverty index developed by Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative with UNDP support cover which of the following? First, deprivation of education, health, asset and services at household level. Second statement, purchasing power parity at national level. Third, extent of budget deficit and GDP growth rate at national level. Okay, so these are the three statements. So we have already discussed it. Please write down the answer in the comment section. Options are A, 1 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C, 1 and 3 only, and D, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so this was about the multidimensional index. Now we will discuss the fifth main news. In this news, the Chandrayaan-2 lunar orbit has made the first ever observation of effects of sun coronal mass ejection on moon. So we will be understanding about Chandrayaan-2 mission, coronal mass ejection, and what are the observation made. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about achievements of India in science and technology. Okay, so let us discuss this news. Now we will discuss the context of this news. So Chandra's Atmospheric Composition Explorer 2, which is an instrument on the orbiter of Chandrayaan-2, had made these observations. Okay, and this instrument was there for calculating neutral gas mass spectrometer to study the composition of lunar neutral exosphere. Okay, now we will briefly discuss about Chandrayaan-2. So basically it was launched in 2019 by using geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle. Okay, so it was having three component: orbiter, lander and rover. Okay, but in this lander and rover was not able to settle on the moon, so only the orbiter is working. We have overcome this challenge in Chandrayaan-3. Okay, and we have landed our lander and rover on southern pole of moon. At that time, we were the fourth country to land on moon. Okay, so after that, one more country had landed on moon. Please write in the comment section which is the fifth country to land on the moon. Okay, please write in the comment section. Okay, we were the fourth country at that time. After that, one more country has landed on moon. So please write the name of that country. Okay. Now we will look and understand what are coronal mass ejection. Okay, don't get scared of technological knowledge or technological aspect in your examination. These are very easy if you try to understand them. Okay. So what it is a large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona. Okay. And let us understand about sun's corona. Suppose this is sun's surface and this is sun's corona. Okay. So basically corona should be cooler than the sun surface, but to everyone's surprise, it is hotter than the surface of the sun. It is still a mystery that why corona is hotter than the sun surface. Okay, scientists are still finding the reason for it, but it's a mystery till now. Okay, and what are the causes associated with coronal mass ejection? It is associated with solar flare and active sunspot region. Okay, let us understand here what are sunspot region. Okay, these are the dark spots on the surface of the sun. Okay, and why these are dark? Because they have strong magnetic field which does not allow sun rays to pass through it. That's why these are the dark spot. Now let us look into the frequency. So it is frequently during the solar maxima, and the cycle of solar maxima and solar minima is of around 11 years. Okay. Now we will understand about its possible impact on Earth. Okay. So it will damage the satellite, electronics and GPS communication. It will impact the health of astronaut, as well as it will lead to power grid failures, as well as the communication which is happening around the globe. Okay, so this was about the coronal mass ejection. Okay, now we will look into the key finding of CHASE 2. Okay, so whenever CME struck the moon, okay, it has found that it intensify the ejection of atoms from the lunar surface. Okay, and it lead to rise in the number of neutral atom per volume in the day side of lunar exosphere. Okay, so this is Earth, this is moon. Do you know that we only see the one side of moon? We see only the one side of the moon. And what is the reason for that? Reason for that is that rotation of moon, time of rotation of moon is equal to the revolution time of moon. So it is an important fact that we only see the one side of moon, and the reason for that is that rotation time of moon is equal to the revolution time of moon. Okay, please remember this. Such type of fact can be asked in your prelims examination. Okay, and it has found that, now coming to the findings of CHASE 2, it has found that lunar exosphere is extremely thin atmosphere around the moon. Okay, so these are the major finding of CHASE 2. Now we will look into one PYQ related to this news. The question here is that discuss India's achievement in the field of space science and technology, how the application of this technology has helped India in socio-economic development. So this is a PYQ from 2016 mains, and there are two parts to it. One, you have to write about the achievement of India in the field of space science and technology, and what are their application and impact on the socio-economic development of India. Okay, this is a direct question. You can write about the various projects which was initiated by India, okay, and their application for socio-economic upliftment and development. Okay, so this was the PYQ related to this news. So personality in news today is Shree Narayan Guru, and what is the context here? The context is that the President of India has inaugurated the observance of Mahasamadhi centenary of Shree Narayan Guru in Kerala. Okay, so in this news we will understand about his life and his achievement. Okay, so he was a saint, philosopher, poet and social reformer who fought against the caste inequalities. Okay, and what are his key contribution? So he has given a important principle which is of one caste, one religion, one God for all human beings. That talks about openness and inclusiveness. Whenever you are reading about social reformers or other type of philosopher, also try to link them to the today's conditions and how their philosophy can be used today, which you can write in your exam. Okay. And he launched the Arvapuram movement for equal right to temple. Okay. So he established Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam for Ijavas community for their upliftment. Okay. And he lent support to Vaikom Satyagraha, which was also a temple entry movement in 1924 to 1925. Okay. And his major works are Anukamba Dasakam and Mahavidya Panchakam. Okay. So even Mahakom Satyagraha, self-respect movement has completed 100 years recently. So please read them very carefully, because there are chances of question from these topics, because whenever there is a major timeline completed such as 25 years or 50 years or 100 years, there are chances that there can be a question from them in UPSC, in prelims as well as in mains. Okay. So this was about the personality in news for today. Now we will discuss the quick update for today. So first quick update is about edible oil. And what is the context? The context is that the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has amended the Vegetable Oil Production and Availability Regulation Order of 2011. Okay. And what is the amendment? That it has mandated registration for all stakeholders involved in the processing chain of edible oil. Okay. So this amendment is not that important, but the edible oil sector of India is important for us. There was one PYQ, question in prelims related to this sector as well. Okay. So what are its major factors in India's edible oil sector? Okay. So first, India is ranked 4th in the world in terms of vegetable oil market. And what are the first 3 countries? First 3 countries are United States, China and Brazil. Okay. And India contribute about 5 to 6% of the world oilseed production. Okay. Last point is very important, that India import around 57% of its edible oil, and the PYQ was related to this statement. That is, India import 57% of its edible oil demand. Okay. So this was the first quick update. So the next quick update is about methane emission. And what is the context here? Context here is that UNEP, that is United Nations Environmental Programme, has released 5th edition of its International Methane Emission Observatory publication. And what is the name of this year publication? It is An Eye on Methane from Measurement to Momentum. It is often seen in UPSC prelims examination that UPSC is asking about such publication and report, and which institution is publishing those reports or publication. Now we will look into the key highlights of this report. Okay. First, that atmospheric methane continues to be the second biggest driver of the climate change. And what is the first biggest driver? That is CO2. That is carbon dioxide. Okay. And it has also talked about the potency of methane. It has said that methane is over 80 times more potent than CO2 in trapping heat, but it lives for a very short time when compared to carbon dioxide, that is around 7 to 12 years. Okay. And it has 2 major sources. One is human based emission and another one is natural source. So human contribute around 60% of emission of methane, and nature contribute around 40%. And in natural resources, the wetlands are the biggest contributors. Okay, so these type of facts can be remembered. Okay, now we will move to the next quick updates. The next quick update is about quantum echo algorithm. Okay, this year there was a question about Majorana 1 chip. Okay. So that's why such type of development become very important for prelims examination. And what is the context here? Context here is that Google's Willow quantum chip, okay, the Google's Willow quantum chip, it is chip of Google, demonstrated the first ever algorithm called as quantum echoes algorithm to achieve verifiable quantum advantage on hardware. Okay, now we will understand about it. And what is quantum echoes algorithm? Okay, it is an algorithm that successfully run 13,000 times faster than one of the world most powerful supercomputer, and it is verifiable. Okay, so please write down in the comment section that which is the India's strongest supercomputer. Please write about the strongest supercomputer of India in the comment section. Now we will understand about the verifiable. What does verifiable here means? It means that result can be repeated to get the same answers, and it has been achieved by using the quantum technology. Okay, and this technique works like a highly advanced echo. Okay, now we will understand it by one example. Suppose there is a submarine which is going below the sea. So by using sonar technology, we can predict where that submarine is going, at what distance or what speed. But using this technology, we can also predict the name which is written on the submarine. Okay, that is the preciseness of this technology. Okay, so the next quick update is about REER, that is real effective exchange rate. Okay, and what is the context here? The context is that rupee has weakened to a record low with the REER indicated continued undervaluation. So we will understand about undervaluation and overvaluation in this news. Before understanding that, let us first understand about REER, that is real effective exchange rate. Okay, so what it is? It is a measure of a country currency values against a basket of major trading partner countries. Okay, with adjustment of relative inflation. Okay, and if the relative inflation is not adjusted, then it will be NEER, that is nominal effective exchange rate. Okay, and how undervaluation and overvaluation is calculated? Suppose the REER is higher, which makes the export more expensive and import cheaper, reducing the trade competition. Okay, and if the REER is lower, that will make the export less expensive and import more expensive, and it will lead to more trade competitiveness. Okay, so this was about REER. So next quick update is about Kurunji flowers. And why it is in news? It is in news because Tamil Nadu newly notified reserve forest. And what is that reserve forest? That is Gudalur Hills. Okay, is covered in violet Kurunji flowers which are blooming after 8 years. Okay, now we will look into the Kurunji flowers. Okay, so Kurunji plant flowers only once in lifetime. Okay, and their more famous part is Neela Kurunji, which blooms once in 12 years. Okay, so these Kurunji flowers are at lower height, and Neela Kurunji flowers are at the more height. Okay, they are above around 30,000 above feet. Okay, their prominent locations are Sola Forest of Nilgiris and Western Ghats. Okay, and what does they indicate? They indicate that healthy grassland. Okay, if they are blooming in a large number, that indicate that the grassland there is healthy, and if they are in patches, that means the grassland is affected by the climate change. Okay, so that is the significance of Kurunji flowers. Okay, so next quick update is about Saranda forest. Okay, and what is the context? The context here is that the Supreme Court bench has ordered the Jharkhand government to give a undertaking to notify a new wildlife sanctuary under WPA Act of 1972 in Saranda. Okay. Now we will understand about the Saranda forest. First important fact here is that it is the largest sal forest in Asia. Okay, such type of extreme statement should be remembered. Okay, and sal tree is a moist deciduous tree. Okay, that is also important. Okay, and Saranda means that the land of 700 hills. Okay, and what are the important major fauna there? It is home to endangered species like flying lizard and elephant. Previously, even tigers were seen there, but presently there are no tigers there. And the important flora are sal, kusum, mushroom, mahua, and other plants as well. Okay, and nearly 80% of human population here belongs to primitive communities like Ho, Munda, Oran, and other primitive tribes. Okay, so this is the importance of Saranda forest. Now we will look into the last quick update for today, that is liberalized remittance scheme. Okay, and why it is in news? It is in news because India's outward remittance for overseas education fall to an 8-year low under liberalized remittance scheme. Okay, if you are reading newspaper, you might have also seen that the net FDI is falling for India. Okay, so please read about that, why a net FDI of India is falling and what are the reasons for that. Okay, that is a separate discussion. Now we will understand about liberalized remittance scheme. Okay, so it was introduced in 2004 by RBI, and for what it was introduced? It was introduced to simplify and streamline the process of remitting fund outside India, not inside India, for outside India. Okay, and it benefit all residents, individual including minors, which are allowed to remit 2,50,000 per financial year freely, and there was no limit on the frequency. Okay, the limit was on the total amount but not on the frequency. Okay, and what are the exemption to it? The exemption here are corporates, partnership firm, Hindu undivided families, and trust. Okay, so these were the major news and quick update for today. Okay, to read more or current affairs like daily current affairs, monthly current affairs, and solving smart quizzes, you can visit to our digital current affairs platforms where you can read other initiatives. So this was today session. Thank you and all the best for your preparation.